Hello YouTube, this is YuGiOh, and today I want to talk about trade ethics. Specifically trading with kids, trading with adults, and trading with new people who might not understand what some cards are worth. Now there's a lot of people who specifically target little kids and basically trade something that's not worth very much for something that is. Like, suppose a kid pulls a tour guide. Some guy goes up to them and trades them, say, an obelisk and a Ra for it. So, naturally, that's a bad trade from our point of view. Now, there's two sides to the trading with little kids issue, and I'm going to discuss both of them. One, there's a bunch of people who say that you shouldn't rip kids off because it's not fair to them, they don't understand what the cards are worth, and you're giving them an unfair trade. Now, there's a lot to that. You know, you could say you're taking advantage of these kids by giving them a bad trade like that. But there are also people who defend it, saying those kids, they're not going to take care of the tour guide, they're not going to understand how to use it, they might as well go to someone who's going to use it, who's going to take care of it. Which, there is something to that. There's also the perceived value of that card. That card is only worth, I think it's $150 right now, $150. That card is only worth $150 so long as there is someone who is willing to buy it for that. Now, I don't have $150 to spend on a tour guide. I would not buy that. So, that card is not worth $150 to me. That card is probably not worth $150 to that kid. And if they're really into the anime or the show or whatever, and they want the God cards, you're making them happy and they're getting happy. They're getting something that makes them happy, you're getting something that makes you happy. So, you could say that that's fair. I'm pretty neutral about it. There's people who say that that's right, there's people who say that it's wrong. Now, something that irritates me, though, is when people try to rip kids off or give them a bad trade. Someone else sees it, comes over and tells them what the card is worth, explains to them that that's a bad trade, and then they get really mad about that. You know, when you do that, you're not really in any position to be complaining about someone doing what they think is right. I mean, if you're okay with giving the kid a bad trade, or you think it's right to give the kid a bad trade, and they don't, you're doing what you think is right, they're doing what they think is right. You know, you can't really complain about that. That just irritates me. I mean, if you're gonna rip kids off, then, you know, that's gonna happen. You know, yeah, I have taken cards from kids. I've never gotten anything like a tour guide. I've never gotten anything extremely valuable from a kid. Could I have given them better trades? Yeah, probably. But I made sure that they were happy with the trade. I didn't force anything on them. I didn't just take it from them. I didn't take advantage from them. I made sure that they were happy with the trade before I made it. So, you know, I'm not perfect. I'll do that. And also, you can look at these kids and see, okay, is this kid respectful? Is this kid going to be good for the game? Do you want this kid to be around? Because there's this one kid at my locals, his name is Cordell. He's mostly just got the Ixie starter deck and stuff, but so he doesn't have that many good cards, but he is very good at the game. I could see him becoming a very good player at some point. You know, I'm not going to take advantage of that kid. I want him to stick around. I want him to have those good cards because I think he's going to understand how to use them. He takes good care of his cards and everything. You know, I think that he should have the same rights as any other really competitive player. There's another kid, I'm not going to go into names here, but he's just a total jerk to everybody. He's cocky, he's arrogant, he's rude, You know, I don't really care if I give that kid a good trade or not. You know, people have tried to help him, but he's just a noob in every definition of the word. He's not going to change. He's made that clear. I don't really care about ripping him off. You know. And also, I'm human. I'm not going to be perfect here if... Down. Like, my little sister plays, and if I see someone giving her a bad trade, yeah, I'm going to speak up about it. That's just... I'm her big brother. I got to look out for her. That's what I'm going to do. So, that's how I feel about that. And then trading with adults. Adults, you are old enough to understand what a card is worth. They're also old enough to understand and come back to you after you rip them off. There are a lot more consequences to ripping an adult off. If you give someone a bad trade, and then they come back in 6 months, after they've become a lot better at the game, they're probably not going to trade with you again. Now, I'm not going to go around ripping people off my locals just because, you know, I like my locals. I care about what the people there think of me. Just like, if I walk in there, they're like, yeah, hey, Darren, glad you can make it and everything. You know, I like that. I'm glad that I'm wanted there. I'm going to do my best to keep being welcome there. So, maybe you don't care about that. Maybe, just like I consider a lot of the people at my locals my friends. You know, I don't want to rip them off. I don't want to be perceived as a jerk or someone who does go around ripping people off. So, you know, maybe you're not like that. Maybe you don't care. That's fine. I don't care. That's just what I'm going to do. And sometimes, this is a very rare thing, but there's another guy at my locals who will agree to just about any trade, and he takes terrible, terrible stuff for his trades. I've argued with him. I have explained to him. He's an adult. He's old enough to understand. I've explained to him what cards are worth. I have explained to him what is a bad trade. He doesn't care, you know. Don't try to force... You can't force someone into making a bad trade. Don't try to force someone into making a good trade. If they're happy with it and you're happy with it, just take it. You know, that's how my ulti Treeborn, I traded, I think, 3 rares and a super for that. You know, it wasn't even a good super, but, you know, it was a terrible trade, but he was an adult. He was happy with it. He's been there, coming there for years. He's old enough to understand. He's been in the game long enough to understand. I'm not going to worry about it too much. So, those are my opinions on some trade ethics. I might continue this video later. So, please, thumbs up if you agree with me. If you don't agree, leave a comment, say why. You know, I'd appreciate that. I appreciate comments. I appreciate thumbs up. So, thank you for that, and peace out, YouTube.